Once upon a time, two men decided if they were making the cut. And then they made the cut. And now JT and Aaron are talking everything from wrestling to pop culture and beyond. Because it's no holds barred.
Will you back down, turn and run? Or stand up with the best? When your back's to the wall, what will your answer be? Will you run for the door? Will you run out on me like it's hard? It's no holds barred.
No holds barred. Hi, we're back again.
Hey!
We're rolling.
Look at us.
We're hot. We're
They
hot.
see us rolling. You know what they're doing? They're hating.
Always.
Yep.
Fucking, was that Chameleonaire or was that Weird Al?
I believe it's Chameleonaire.
All right, I know which one you were doing.
Who I thought, when I watched 30 Rock, I thought Chameleonaire was a made-up name.
It was not.
I know. I found that out like last year.
Last year?
Yeah, because one of my kids was riding on his bike, it was 2 years ago. He was 5, and he was singing it, like as he was riding a bike. And I'm like, I knew the song, but then I wanted to look it up for him, and yeah, Chameleonaire.
Mm-hmm. No, it's a real name. I don't know if he's done a song since, but that's him.
Probably.
It's kind of like us, comes and goes with hits. But here we are, another WrestleMania-based exciting project we're going to do tonight here as we are on the doorstep of WrestleMania 41. Always an exciting time of year. This podcast is simulcast, both audio and video, on the North-South Connection. So on video or on YouTube, and on audio or on all podcast applications as part of the North-South Connection Podcast Network. It's WrestleMania season, like I said, a lot of WrestleMania content. Also, we have a stretch project going on here. If you see a little square pop up on any of these videos or in the title of the audio, we are paying tribute to the year 1995. So it's amazingly enough, Ben, how many years, Aaron?
God, it'll be 30.
We don't have Chad Campbell to do the math, but it's been 30 years since 1995. So we're paying tribute to all the great pop culture, wrestling, sports, and beyond from that year with all different podcast content throughout 2025. It may be part of like regular shows like this. It may be special one-offs, but we're going to run the gamut on 95 throughohout this year.
I feel like now I'm just sad that it's been 30 years. Thanks for starting the show this way. Sorry,
buddy.
Doesn't it make you sad?
What happened to us? It's going to be this way. Okay, let's talk about the topic tonight. So, speaking of words, speaking of WrestleMania from 1995, we are going to go similar to what we did in our last episode, where we kind of went mania by mania. Instead of doing best moments, we're going to do worst booking decision from each WrestleMania. So we're going to go mania by mania. We're not ranking. There's no tier listing. It's just the 40 choices from 40 manias. The worst moment. So it could be,
not worst moment, worst decision.
Right, worst decision. So it could be a moment. It could be a result of a match.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. I meant to ask you this off air, but we can pontificate now. Do you feel we should include build in this? So like instead of this match, it should have been this. Or do you want to only go with the card itself on that night, the results of that show? Or do we want to say like WrestleMania 3 should have been Paul Orndorff and not Andre Jar, right? Like something like that. Do we want to say the decision of the match could be part of the bad booking of the show?
I think we should use rebooking, but sparingly.
Okay.
Like I can think of because there's shows where if you change all the matches, the show will be better. Like we did. With
I mean like
11.
one individual match. So like you know, if Brett would have fought Owen at WrestleMania 11, that was the worst decision possible was to him fight Backlund. And now I would say like it has to be realistic, right? Like I don't think we can say, oh, they should have done Hogan and Austin in 05. Like it has to be realistic, like something that would have happened, right? Yeah, like Hogan Flair at 8. I think we can use that if we want at 8 because it's realistic. It was a feud. So like I think if it's within the construct of what they were doing in storyline and then changed it, I think it's okay. I think to like radically change the card based on something that wasn't probably ever going to happen, I don't think is in the spirit.
Yeah. I just I think we should just use it sparingly. Because I think it is an option for some, and I can think of some that are more low key.
Right.
That I think it's an option where there's not really a ton of bad things on the card, but like maybe hey, if you'd done this instead, Um,
And that could be another project. I don't know if we'll get one in before Mania, another one, but like
yeah,
maybe for next year. Like if you could change one match from every card, what would
right.
you change? You know, something like that. But
Yeah.
all right, so let's
But it would
start.
almost certainly change 2 matches at least.
Yeah, that's true. All right, WrestleMania 33 is our first one. We did a random list like we did last time, so we're not going to go in order. So one jumps out like right off the bat for me.
Yeah.
And that is the Bugs. Like I think Orton and Bray
Yeah.
was like I think it was a good choice for a match at the time. They were coming off the tag stuff. It was hot.
Yeah, they had a whole story.
It was good. And then that match completely just derails everything.
Yeah, and whereas like I don't think Bray Wyatt was like a tremendous worker or anything, but he could go with the right
Yeah.
part. And Orton probably could have been that right partner.
And Bray probably should have retained. I think like that could be the option too if we want to say that instead.
No, I don't know about that. I think it's more the choice of putting the Bugs and yeah, I think the only other choice that really jumps out at me for that show is the main event going as long as it did,
Right.
considering
Or
what it was.
how about Triple H Rollins also goes too long?
Yeah, but I don't think that's. I agree. We can make this entire Triple H list if we wanted, but no, I think you're right about the Bugs. The Bugs on the mat is like it takes a wrestling match and turns it into something completely foreign and completely different and
Yeah.
completely unnecessary.
It's all time bad. I mean, it's all
Yeah.
time bad. Like it's an all time worst match. I don't remember where Ryan and I had it. We ranked every Mania match ever. I mean, it was down there for sure.
Yeah,
It's awful. It derails the card, which is humming along to that point.
yeah,
I mean, Triple H set the side. Like even that's fine. But those two back to back really kill that show.
right.
Brock and Goldberg wake it back up, and then the main event puts you back to sleep. I mean, if you look at the three matches on that show were over 20 minutes. It's AJ Styles and Shane McMahon. Seth Rollins and Triple H was the longest at 25 and a half, and then Reigns and Taker at 23.
Yeah. I mean, look, like you could also argue that wasting an AJ Styles main event on Shane, not that it wasn't good,
Yeah.
but no, that it's got to be the Bugs on the match.
Gotta be the Bucks.
That's gotta be. And you know what's funny? That match, that Bug match, followed Seth Rollins and Triple H.
Yeah, exactly. That's an awful stretch right there. Those two back to back.
Yeah.
Brutal. All right, WrestleMania 1.
I'm gonna throw something out because this is exactly what I was thinking about when I said use it sparingly.
Yeah, I know exactly where you're going.
I think you make the Intercontinental title match Greg Valentine and Tito Santana. It feels like a no-brainer there.
Yeah.
And makes everything better as a consequence.
And it makes sense. I mean, they were feuding at MSG over the IC title. They had just swapped it. It would have made perfect sense. It's not like a left field swing. And you can have JYD go over the Executioner, open the show, and get the crowd hyped. Like it would have worked just as fine. And Valentine JYD sucks. It's like such an awful booking.
Yeah. And they didn't want to beat JYD, so like was it a disqualification or count? It's a non-finish, right?
Right. Yeah. It's they do the Dusty finish. Valentine pins him with his feet on the ropes, leave, and then they overturn it, and JYD wins by count out or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually think it's a well booked card. Otherwise, like I don't really know what else I would change about it. Like Hogan and T go over, Andre goes over Stud. Leilani Kai loses to Richter. Like that's cool. The tag title switch is good.
I like that. Maybe the David San Martino Brutus Beefcake, just not on the card. But I think that
I have a better way to do it. I would have said do the tag. You could have done Bruno and David against Beefcake and Valiant.
Oh yeah,
get Bruno's match. So that'd probably be the other one. That's probably the second best option. But I think Tito Valentine's.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I mean the other thing I thought about was if you include the seconds in the main event.
Right? Or in Snuka.
But it doesn't need it. That's if you're. I feel like that's like if you're stretching, right? Like you have to find something.
Yeah,
and I don't even know if that makes it. That might not even make it better. Like that's a.
No, I think the other two I'd have above that. All right, WrestleMania 38.
Okay, so 38. Because here's the thing: is you can't fault. I mean, you could say booking Roman and Brock again.
No, yeah.
But because I don't blame them for the match they had because that's just kind of what happened. And then you have all the weird stuff like Rick Boogs fucking up his leg and like
Nothing you can do about that.
That's
And,
it.
and Reigns and Brock hadn't really fought in a while at that point. It felt like because they had fought a bunch, right? But that was
Yeah.
like the first, and they had to do it with Reigns as the tribal. Like they hadn't done it,
I know.
and it's just not their fault that he gets hurt and the match falls to shit. Because I actually think it starts pretty well before the injury. Like it's probably on track to be one of their best since 31.
Well, it's the first one with Reigns as a heel too, right? Right?
Yeah,
Like,
they had to do it. They had to do it.
Yeah.
So then, because that happens, they end up running. I don't know if they were going to run it back at SummerSlam either way, but they end up running it back at SummerSlam because of the injury.
Yeah.
I would say, honestly, like all the shit with Vince and McAfee and in theory, like the booking on the fly. Vince, I know they wanted to give Vince like one last match and him and Austin in the ring again, but I don't know. It's just so stupid.
Terrible.
Like when you look at the and look, as someone who's got like compulsive ADHD, OCD, seeing these stupid matches the last few years have really bugged me. Like on cards, like Snoop and Shane or whatever the fuck they are, like Snoop and Miz. Like as someone who memorized as a kid, like every Mania match and who was in what, like, and now they have all these stupid one-offs. Rock and Rowan kind of started it, so it's like these things have always bothered me. These like on the fly matches that don't really mean much.
And this one became an embarrassment too. Like,
yeah. So I mean, McAfee theory is fine. I think Vince beating McAfee is probably my choice.
And it going 3 minutes. I think there's one other option. And let me know what you think about this. What's the longest match on both nights? It's Edge, AJ Styles.
Yeah. Yep.
Like giving that the longest match on both nights, I think is a big problem.
Yeah, I mean Cody Rollins is close. They kind of went like with one super long match on each night.
Yeah, but Cody Rollins is like full of heat.
Oh no, it's great. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
they kind of gave one to each night. Yeah. And you could argue wasting Drew as well.
Yeah.
And he was pretty over in that stretch, and wasting him on Corbin.
Well, wasting Lashley with almost.
Yeah, like just do Lashley Drew rematch from the year before,
which was great. But I think it's Vince.
Yeah, I think
it's got to be Vince. Yeah, that's got to be Vince.
All right, so Vince McMahon versus McAfee.
Because
it ends up being Vince's last match. So yeah.
I know, crazy, right?
All right, this is an interesting one. So WrestleMania 2000.
Actually, I think this one's actually not that hard. I think what jumps out immediately is not having any singles matches on the card.
Right. So, but let's dig a level deeper on that. Like,
okay,
can you narrow it down to saying the main event should have just been a singles match? Like, if you want to do the non-singles matches up and down the card, but you have to at least do Triple H Rock one-on-one, unretiring Foley, Vince's heel turn, like kind of overdone. Like I think there's a lot of little pieces in there that you could argue.
I think you could like
kind of go in hand with the singles thing.
Yeah, the only singles match that we have is the Cat and Terry Reynolds. But the problem is I actually think the whole problem with all of it is that it's cumulative, right? Like it's not that like it's just not the main event. It's not that it's the Intercontinental. See, I like the idea of the Intercontinental, the 2 out of 3 falls. It's different, you know. I like the triple threat tag, but then you put that in a card where not everything is that.
Yeah, but I think if you just do Triple H Rock, I think the rest is kind of like okay because you like the IC, we like the tag. The other tags, who cares? Like, what are you gonna do? Boss Man and Snow single? I mean, it's like you kind of look at the rest of the card and it's like. Nothing else really jumps out as like a must singles match. Maybe the Too Cool like that thing, but like Kane and Rikishi were like that whole thing. They were both over. I guess you could have done Kane X-Pac. That's maybe like the one you could do, but they had already fought 3 times on pay-per-view by that point. Like I think if you just put all that same card and you just have like a banging, because look at the 2 matches that follow for Triple H Rock. Like they're awesome.
Yeah, they're
the next
good.
2 months. So if you put that backlash match at Mania with like Austin
with the
coming
Rock
out,
winning and Austin win. Yeah.
So to me, that's the change. I think I make that 4-way into a straight 1-on-1 with Rock winning.
And then what are you doing with Foley and Big Show? Because it's going to trickle down, right? Everything trickles down.
I don't think I think Foley's done.
And maybe
he comes out. Maybe he's your Well, let's put Big Show aside for one second, but maybe Foley is like your red herring. So maybe he comes out first. He gets run off by whoever with Triple H. DX comes out, and then you think Rock is fucked, and then Austin comes out and hits the stunner, and Rock beats Triple H. So you could do something like that.
And the Big Show?
Who gives a fuck? I mean, you could stick them in the hardcore battle royal if you really want
Yeah.
to, or you can change one of those other matches around, and it maybe fights. I don't even know who. Like maybe you stick him with is even he's a heel, I guess. I mean, could you do something like with the Kane and Rikishi match with him in there? Maybe I don't.
Or you heat up the Boss Man again and he fucking destroys him. Like,
Or you could do him and Shane. I mean, like if you want to, they
Which
kind
way
of
did
do
you
that
go?
again. That's another match they do at Backlash anyway.
yeah.
So you could just do Show
Well,
and Shane.
Yeah, at this Backlash, it's not at this because
Oh, that's
this is
right.
the show dressing up like Hogan, right?
Yeah. But and he kills it. So he turns face anyway. So just do it a couple weeks later. Shane could say like you blew it and no way out. You're still worthless and fat. And then they just had Big Show versus Shane. Like I think that show is much better if you cut one of those stupid tags, cut the head cheese tag,
Yeah,
put them in the
head
battle
cheese.
royal, put them in the hardcore match, head cheese and TNA or whatever the hell.
Mhm.
And then or put Bossman Bull and head cheese in the hardcore. Do Godfather and D'Lo versus TNA because those are kind of your teams. And then add
Different
Big Show
order too.
Yeah, add Big Show and Shane with a Big Show face turn, and then do Rock Triple H with Foley and Austin like interfering.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
All right, but our answer for this, we're not going to rebook the whole thing. Our answer for this is just Rock Triple H singles match. Rock wins.
Sure.
What should have been.
Yeah.
All right, WrestleMania 5.
Is it the WrestleMania wrap? And actually, but they are big stars, but like,
Yeah, I don't think that's a problem. I mean,
it's not a show with a lot of problems on it. Like it's a pretty tight card. Like there's like 14 matches and it's like 3 hours.
that could be it.
Like,
Well, no, it's actually if you look at the runtime, it's more like 340 long. But I think you could argue that's one of the issues is like too many matches on that show.
yeah.
How about too many fuck finishes?
Well, I think we got to save that for another one, actually. Not that like, because I think there's one where that's really egregious.
This one's bad though. Like
Yeah.
Herc Haku is like that lame bridge, and Herc it was the same lazy finish from the year before. Then you get Beefcake
But he learns.
DiBiase is terrible. Jake and Andre has a shit finish. Duggan on Bad News has a shit finish.
Yeah.
It works. But Bobby hooking the foot, I guess.
Yeah. Any one of those would be fine on its own, but it's when it's
how about
surrounded.
DiBiase? How about just like misuse of DiBiase? Like it's such a like he's red hot coming off 88, and then you stick him in this random match of Beefcake with no build, no heat, and a DQ.
Beefcake's super hot too during this stretch. That's the thing. Like that's kind of who he paired off with. What about the Bushwhackers shaking the Rougeau's penis?
No, that's fun. I actually have an interesting one. Let me throw this out at you.
Yeah.
Running Trump Plaza again. I know it fits like the story, and like the 4 crowd's actually sneaky good, like rewatching it recently. But 5, they're not as good. Like, could the Mega Powers exploding have been better in like a big arena?
You got to believe they could have sold out or done well in a different arena. So yeah, maybe that's it. It's doing Trump Plaza again.
The only positive I can think of is that it's a cool bookend of the Mega Power story by having it in the same place where they came together. But
but they didn't. They can't. They had come together.
Yeah, I know.
Months before, right?
I know. Just bookend in that Savage world title reign, I guess.
Yeah,
like, that's cool.
Yeah, you can. I think
how
that's
about Hogan beating Savage?
I don't know how I feel about that because my heart is obviously I want Savage to have the belt forever, right? But like this is the logical conclusion of the story, and I don't know if they needed to tell any more of the story. So much so that when they fight again at SummerSlam with Zeus, it's really a Zeus story,
right?
Like the Savage stuff is kind of finished. So, nah. I think Trump Plaza, even opening with Hercules and Haku, I think is not a great decision.
It'd be fine if it was a clean win because Herc is getting revenge on Bobby.
He's
But why
asleep.
not do Herc and DiBiase? Like to me, that would have been the natural match.
Yeah, that
coming
would
up
have made a
here.
lot more sense.
Yeah,
That would have made a lot more sense.
the Beefcake
But I
just
think
say Haku or whatever. But
I think your instinct is right though that it's the
Trump Plaza.
location.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like, okay, it worked out real well the first time,
But I
then
don't think I feel like that's not why they did it. Like,
no, definitely not.
yeah.
But they just seemed to get much less of a wrestling crowd for that second time through.
Yeah.
All right, WrestleMania 37 is next. We talked about this one toward the end of our last episode, so it's fairly
Yes.
fresh-ish. I mean, you could throw putting Hogan out there in front of the live crowd. I think has to at least be on the list.
Yeah. Bringing the crowd back. I mean, we could have had the Thunderdome.
Right, and everyone loves the Thunderdome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hogan having Natalya and Tamina win the tag titles.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's short term. It doesn't really do anything. Booking Braun and Shane in that cage match at this
There was
point.
at least a feud, I guess, though.
Yeah.
The box.
It's the box. It's the box. No, it's the box. It's the box. It's the box. And not letting them just fight. Like, why don't they let Orton and Bray Wyatt ever just fight?
Never. They can never just have a match.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, the box like structure. It's like that.
And Michael Cole saying that.
Yeah, right. I'd say, I mean, Hogan's close though. It's close that they ran him out there with everything going on. With Titus. Like, I'm rethinking it. Like, you know, and also thinking back when we picked the moment, we also could have picked the rain delay. The first ever Mania to be delayed by its weather.
After we, like, the first time getting crowd back too.
Samoa Joe with the friggin' tarp on. Like that. I mean, if there was ever a Mania to have a weather delay, that's the one because no one cared because they were just happy to be there. So it's kind of like, whatever, we'll wait, you know?
Great. Samoa Joe, yeah. Look, I think ultimately the Hogan thing, it's stupid, but it's small. Like,
just putting him out there with Titus is such a bad fucking call.
Look, he's friends. They're friends.
They're good buddies.
Look at that. There's nothing wrong. But it's got to be the box-like object. I mean, like, what are we doing?
Especially when you, like you said, they just like 4 years earlier stuck them with the same stupid shit, you know?
Yeah. Like, just let them fight.
All right. WrestleMania 11, one of our favorites. Let's throw up the No-So 95 graph here. We loved WrestleMania 11 this year.
We have.
I mean, our version, there's nothing wrong. Our version was flawless.
Bloody JJ Dillon and a.
What is that?
He's not there.
I would say doing Brett Backlund instead of Brett Owen. Like, I think it's such an easy fucking change. Like, Backlund is completely washed by that point. I get, like, in theory, wanted to get Brett his win back from Survivor Series, which he didn't get. You could have done that on Raw or the actions, put that on the Action Zone and do Brett Owen here. Like LT Bigelow closing, I think is fine.
Yeah. You could argue the location, Hartford.
I don't think they were big enough then to do anything else. Look at all those Raw and where I don't know, maybe. I mean, I guess King of the Rings in Philly, they could have done it there.
We could also take a step back too and think like, would Brett Backlund have worked better without Piper? Like, he's so like in your face the whole match.
The match is boring. I think Backlund's cooked, and I don't think Brett wanted to be there. Like,
I think it's crazy because I love the Survivor Series match, and like 7 minutes of that match is a chicken wing.
Yeah, this is so much drama with
who's gonna throw it in
with Owen and Bulldog and Stu and like Backlund's big chance. Like by 11, you know he's not winning that match. There's no drama in that match. There's no chance he's beating Bret Hart again. And Brett seems like he just doesn't want to fucking be there. So it's like, I think that one to me stands out as an easy one. The only other one I could say is if you think Shawn should have beaten Diesel.
No, I think it's good when he beat him when he did. So yeah, I think that's it. Let's go with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is that?
What is that?
All right. So next up we have 35.
Making it 7 hours long.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think you got to bring that up. Like, I think that's a very legitimate gripe on that show is it's too freaking long. If you want to microcosm it, you could just say Triple H Batista, like just everything about that.
That whole thing's like an hour with everything
Well,
in it.
I think it's like I looked at. I think we looked at it. I think it's like 40 minutes, but it's way too long.
Yeah. And so stupid. Like, do we need? I don't want any more matches with tools. Like, tools, you're gonna die. You'll die if you get hit with a hammer. Like, you
everything
will die.
about that too. Like Triple H is comes out, gets this like movie star entrance. It's Batista's last match. He's the movie star, and he just like walks to the fucking ring. Like he should have been.
He comes out with the cars and everything.
Yeah, but it's like he just looks kind of lame. Like I don't know. Like
he falls.
Yeah, he should have been like the pomp over the top pomp. It's just an odd decision, the whole thing.
And just the whole story of that match with like Batista saying, "You've never beaten me," and then give me what I want. Like, why did he even want? Like, that being said, though, I think there's another contender on this show.
There is another one.
Yeah, and I think it's someone near and dear to your heart.
The Three Eyes do not say this imbecile Baron Corbin should beat Kurt Angle in his last match.
What are we doing? Like,
awful decision.
Yeah.
And then Angle, the whole thing is eradicated because 2 seconds later he's laughing and like chuckling about it and like, oh, thank shucks, guys. Like it just completely eradicates the whole reason to have Corbin win to get heat over on Angle if he's laughing about it 3 minutes later. Like, it's bad. So I think there's 3, right? But that's like meaningless in the big picture. I really think the worst part of that show is like, I don't want to build everything around length, but like that is the epitome of the excess era of WWE from like 17 until COVID.
Yeah.
Everything is bloated. Like Marcus and I did that season of War. We did 18-19 and it's like every fucking show and it's loaded with dream matches. Like it's crazy to me that it's not one of the best eras ever because it's like 4.5 hours of like every match gets time. Daniel Bryan, Brock Lesnar, Kofi Kingston, like all these AJ Styles, Mustafa Ali, like all these guys that are really good workers, Gulak, like these guys can all go, you know what I mean? And like, but like all these guys can work, and it's just like awful.
But it's because they send
them
out,
like AJ Knock have a 7-match series, and they're all mid.
Well, it's because they send them out too many times to fight together.
Yeah,
like when you're fighting someone 3, 4, 5 times. Like, look, there's very few wrestlers that I've seen a 3-match series where the matches either get progressively good or there isn't one stinker.
Cena Owens is probably the one that comes to my mind in 15.
Yeah.
All 3 are great. But that's an
but also by the end, you're kind of just like, again, like I think of Jericho Mysterio from 2009, but that's a mid-card feud, you know? So yeah, I think that's a big problem. I'm good with the length. I'm actually good with any of these decisions because the length is an issue. It's not an issue when you're there. That's one thing I noticed because I was there for that one. It's the only one I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And at the time seeing it, I was like, oh, I get why it's long now because you're here and you want to see everybody.
Right.
And I wonder, I really feel when they started getting their really big TV deals, that they started moving away from the viewer experience and more into the live experience. I wonder if that started around this period.
Yeah. And I mean, I think, look, COVID is awful for many, many reasons. Like, but it helped wrestling. Like it helped WWE. It was the worst year. It's an awful year to watch. Like nothing I'd ever want to watch again. But like it really helped get them out of that excess mentality that was like crippling the promotion because everything was supersized. Everything was so long. Even these, off-month pay-per-views. There's no reason Backlash has to be 5 hours. You know what I mean? Like it's ridiculous.
No.
This is all too much. And this WrestleMania is like the peak of it. Like 7 hours. And I was always like, who cares? Like to your point, who cares? I'm here. It's the biggest night of the year. I was against 2-night manias for a while. And now I'm like, it works well. Doing 2 nights, 3 and when you aggregate it, it's as long or longer than all those. But it's like two 4-hour shows is way more tolerable, than an
8-hour show.
8 hours. Yeah. And when you're there after midnight, you're nut cutting your main event that you're building all this hype for. So it's like, who wants to still be there? And this card you can trim easy. Like you can trim a lot of fat off this card.
Yeah, you get rid of Balor and Lashley. You get rid of Angle and and
Yeah,
Corbin.
Corbin, you didn't need that. Cut Triple H and Batista down to 10 minutes from 40. You know, it's like there's a lot of little things you can do to slash an hour and hour and a half off. Easy.
It's insane to me that like and that like Triple H and Batista get like 40 minutes, and Brock and Seth get like 10.
Right.
Because they kind of rush through.
Well, I
the
think
intros.
Brock wanted to get the hell out of it. Like that to me was
I get
probably
it.
partially.
He didn't want to be there all night either.
All right, let's do the next one. I think this is gonna be an easy one because we're taking forever here. But WrestleMania 26. I think this is an easy one. No,
Swagger.
Brett and Vince.
Oh God, it's Brett and Vince.
Yeah. I mean, like, not doing that as a tag, I think with Cena Batista or them in the corner is the way.
Yeah.
I think that's the way you fix it. Like Brett with Cena, Batista with Vince with Batista. If Cena wins, Brett gets 5 minutes with Vince. No Hart family bullshit. No other nonsense. He kicks the shit out of him for 5 minutes, puts him in the sharpshooter, and we're out. Like they completely did it all ass backwards.
Yeah, or you do the match, like you make it Brett Vince, whatever, fine, but you have the reveal of him not being injured at Mania.
Right, yeah.
And the match lasts a minute. You know, like
it did not need to go as what it was in any way.
No.
All right, let's move along because I think that's a layup. 14.
That's a really solid show.
Yeah.
Maybe having did the new Midnight Express win that Battle Royal?
No, LOD wins.
LOD won it, eh?
Which is fine, I think.
Yeah, that was fine.
So you got LOD win the Battle Royal, Taka Aguila, which is fine. Owen, maybe you could say Owen going over Triple H.
Yeah, he should have beat Triple H probably. But no, because they needed Triple H to be strong just to restart DX, right?
Yeah.
Which ultimately is more important than Owen.
Yeah, Owen gets eaten up in that return, but it's hard. He should have never been with Triple H, but he had to put him with DX. So it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Goldust's
costume.
Rock, I mean, Shamrock.
No,
maybe
I love
Rock.
it.
I know, it's fine.
But I love him with the belt on the
and you can't argue with Rock. He gets over so big. The
DX band singing the anthem.
No, yeah, that is weird. You could argue like this is more post-Mania booking, but if we want to fudge it, it's our project. Who cares? We could say like retconning Cactus and Chainsaw Charlie the next night, and like saying they didn't really win. Because don't they Dusty finish it the next night with the tag titles or whatever?
Well, don't they just beat the shit out of them in the cage? Yeah, and then they take the tag titles back and then they beat.
But again, that kicks off Foley going heel.
Yeah,
which you kind of needed. So this is a hard one. There's not really a lot of bad in here.
No,
Taker beating Kane is fine.
Yeah, I think.
Anything with Tyson you would change? Should they have done Austin Tyson?
Nah, no, they wouldn't. Tyson counted too fast. Not teaching Mike Tyson how to count for wrestling. This is a hard one. Is it Goldust's outfit?
I mean, that's fine. It's not that bad.
Is it? It might be the DX band singing the anthem. Like I know that sounds stupid.
That's a weak one.
Yeah, but it's not. I can't think of anything on this show that I would like.
So should this be the conversation more for the best Mania ever? like I mean, there's like nothing wrong with it. Like, why isn't it the best ever?
Because in a vacuum, like Triple H beating Owen Hart sucks, right? It's not fun. In a vacuum, that Battle Royal it's okay, but it's nothing special. Taka beating Aguila is nothing. There's nothing wrong, but there's nothing special except the main event and a couple of little moments.
And I can't think anyone would go left off the card that you could say like should have been on the card.
Gorilla.
He's dead.
Yeah, but come on.
No, he's not actually by that point. I mean, could you? I don't know, like
not having Pete Rose on commentary.
I mean, could you say something like, "Oh, like you do something better"? Like, well, again, I don't know if it's better, but Austin Tyson and Owen and Shawn is like that all universe. But
yeah, I don't think it's.
It's hard to say it's a bad decision. I don't want to book just to change book. I want to keep track of the project, which is.
But Austin's probably is Austin losing to Tyson?
No, he's gonna win. But is Tyson gonna lay down for Austin? I don't know.
Yeah.
He's a
Like,
pretty
you
big
almost-
mark, so maybe if you pay him enough. But
Yeah, like you almost, if you're gonna use Tyson, you probably put him in with somebody else. Like it sounds stupid, but
bigger
do Tyson
arena.
shit.
But Boston, that
Maybe.
crowd's hot.
And it was not during their hot, like they weren't
Yeah.
there yet, right?
No. McMahon healed before. I don't think that would have
No,
mattered.
because perfect the way it's done.
Mhm.
Way it's done. Sean, give him more painkillers.
Yeah, let's just go with the DX man. All right, I think
Yeah.
this next one's easy. 27. Lawler
Cole winning?
losing to Cole. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean-
And the amount of time they give that match.
just everything about it. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
fucking abysmal. I mean, I don't know.
Main
Like,
event is,
yeah, the main event too. But again, that's the concussion doesn't help. But you could argue that Cena just should have beat Miz.
Yeah.
But
But
Cole Lawler's like a
Cole Lawler's so bad that like it doesn't matter. Like,
and it didn't hurt Cena to lose. I mean,
no, didn't he lose by count out?
yeah. So I mean, you could argue if you want to go down the booking route, could have done Sting Taker if they could have gotten Sting in, or Cena Rock. I mean, that's
Cena
the other
Rock.
one. Should they run Cena Rock here?
Morrison and Miz. Like there's a bunch of things they could have done instead, but
Right.
that'd be another fun one to rebook.
Yeah. All right. So you just want to go with this? With
Yeah, it's obvious.
okay.
Don't think too hard.
All right. 34 main event.
I hate that main event. I find it so boring.
I think that'd be my pick. Well, actually, I have two. So that's one that they shouldn't have run that back again that soon. I don't think everyone was ready, and they run it a bunch of more times that year. I don't think Reigns was over enough. It was just like setting him up to fail.
And
The other one you could say is the Taker Cena stuff with Cena calling him out all night, like not doing a real Cena Taker match. You
yeah,
can get out for 27 as well, by the way. That Cena Taker should have happened at 27.
yeah. I've always contended that they should have done that at 27, and it was the
Yeah.
career on the line, and Cena
Yeah.
should have lost, and then taken some time off. Jinder Mahal winning the U.S. title.
Yeah, that's whatever.
It's fine. How about the whole bullying of Nia Jax by Alexa Bliss?
Yeah, that does suck too. Or how about Nicholas?
Yeah, that's bad too.
Especially since they beat the bar. I think that's my choice. I mean, the main event is bad. Like doing that main event's not good. Taker Cena, like I think you could argue, but it's fine.
It's just a choice. Like that's a choice
Right.
they made. They still paired them up, and it was still memorable.
I think Nicholas is bad. Picking a kid out, like teasing a big
Yep.
surprise, wasting the bar who were red hot, picking a kid
Yeah.
out of the audience and making him tag champ. Like,
Yeah. Let's go, Nicholas.
that's like a raw stunt. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's for a big mania, especially late in the night, too. It's like right at the end.
It's the second to last match, right?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. WrestleMania 28. I think this is an interesting one. My first thought where my head goes to is Triple H Taker back to back. Like, do we need another Triple H Taker match? It comes back to, again, are we wasting bullets at this point like we did with Brock later? Having another Taker streak match with Triple H after and it kind of felt like maybe for some, I know this is a very divisive series, but like the ones that love 27 is kind of like, okay, they peaked. Are we really going to do this again and like risk it not working this time?
Yeah. Well, the thing with it too is that like one of the problems with that is that who do you pair? I think once you lay the rest of the card in, because you're not changing Cena Rock, right? Once you do that, like, what are you doing with Undertaker? Like that you're gonna like unless you're gonna put him in a feud with Punk for the title.
Yeah, I think that's the other one maybe. But well, when was Jericho rumored? Was that year or was that 27 as well? There's one year where it seemed like Jericho and Taker were kind of lining up with each other.
I don't remember. It wasn't this year because this is where Jericho came back and was the silent guy just looking.
Right. How about
I like
Sheamus
that.
squashing Brian? Now you know my feeling. I think it worked.
Yeah.
But I know like
look, they actively made the show worse by doing that.
right.
Like
The argument you can make is if you don't do that, does he still get over to what he does?
Yeah.
With the yes movement, like this is kind of a key cog in that, like him getting squashed, but it does take a while. So I don't know if you can really direct line it because
and it takes a while for the show to recover
Yeah.
from it happening. That's the other thing. I think you could also bring up that stupid like 8-man tag or 10-man team Teddy and team. Like they're just, I
Yeah.
get it. You're throwing people on the card, but like you're giving it like 5 minutes.
10. Actually, it was 10, but yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about, I mean, Sean is the ref, like with all the pathos bullshit in that match too. Like,
But it made sense based on the storyline. Like,
yeah.
and ultimately there was pathos, but he did add because he was dangerous in the match. But Kane beating Orton out of nowhere, but it means nothing. Like
it kills me because I agree with the, like, I didn't hate it, but I'm with, let's go with Sheamus squashing Brian. I do think it hurt the card in the moment. I think Brian probably recovers anyway. I still don't hate it like most do, but I could see why in the moment it was a bad call. Like,
yeah, they did not read the room on that one at all.
Right.
And the thing is with it too is you can probably make the case that it helped Brian later on, but I think it probably hurt Sheamus in the short term. Because he was their guy from the Rumble, and it took him a while to kind of get his footing back.
All right, 18.
Well, I think this one's obvious too. Don't put Jericho and Triple H in the main event above Hogan Rock.
How about Austin doing Austin Hall?
Yes, I think that's.
If you're not willing to change Hogan Rock, which I don't think we are, I think the only other option you could say is, well, actually, I think there's a few. This is a good one. So Triple H, Jericho, Austin Angle, blow off, or RVD not being in a world title match. Like, I think those are three very strong choices.
I think the card the card can definitely be better. Like, you could make the card better by moving a couple of pieces around for sure. Like you could have you could do Jericho RVD. You could have Austin fight Angle again, or Austin fight Triple H, or Austin and Triple H fight Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, or Austin and Triple H fight Scott Hall and X-Pac. Like, there's a bunch of shit you could do there to make it interesting. But I think once you get to that card, like not putting Hogan and Rock on last kills the rest of the card. And if those two, if the Jericho Triple H match and Hogan Rock match were swapped, I bet we look at that card differently.
Yeah. Because you could argue like RVD to me is like an easy one to pick, but we kind of put our rules in place that like if it's not realistic in the moment, and he was pretty cooked by then. Like, it's not like he was main eventing right before that show. He's done by like No Mercy, really. Like, he's still over and they use him a lot, but as like a world title guy, No Mercy's kind of it. So, like, it's hard to say they could have kept him until Mania.
It's crazy how much they beat him during. Like, they have the Undertaker beat him for the hardcore title. They have Triple H, like, he comes in the ring at the Rumble, he pedigrees him and tosses him out right away. Then I think he fights
Goldust and No Way Out.
Goldust, like, so like he's not there. Like, that's a bigger botch, like not having something better for him.
Right, but I think it's not realistic given the build of the show. I guess to go with it. All right, so let's just go with that.
And no matter what, Hogan Rock is going to be the biggest thing on the card.
Right, no matter what. Yeah. All right. Yeah, you could argue we've been overshadowed. Okay, WrestleMania 40. I have one.
Okay.
The main event of night one going 45 minutes. To me, there's like no need to do that whole slow build.
Oh, fuck. You know what's crazy is I couldn't even remember what that was when you said it. And I should remember what that is.
It ruins the match because the last like 25 is really good. But remember that slow and like the entrances take forever. Like Ryan talked about this before too. He's like, well, because of the long entrances, they wanted to warm back up because they cooled down. But it's like, well, just don't do that. Like, it just I'm fine with the finish of the match, like Cody losing, like that makes sense to me.
I
to
like
set
that.
up night two.
Yeah,
I don't mind that. The other thing is maybe like, but again, it's not a booking decision. Like the Usos just sucked. The match sucked.
Yeah. No, that's not that, and it made sense to put them together. You could maybe Damian Priest beating,
No, that was a cool
but it
moment.
launches Drew
Punk
and
and
Punk,
Priest
which,
and yeah, Drew's big conspiracy stuff, which is really good. The Philly
yeah,
street fight is great.
yeah.
Bailey EO is good. I think it's the main event. I think it's the main event match structure. I think that's like the worst part of that show to me.
On night 1 or night 2?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Night one. No, night two is
Yeah,
fine.
night 2, everything's great. Yeah, okay, let's go with that.
I just think it's like it's just not the it should have just been different. All right, 17. It's an interesting one because do you say like I think for me it's
The heel turn?
the way like well not the heel turn. Yeah, well basically Austin and Vince coming together that night instead of the next night. I will stand by the fact that Austin should have won with inadvertent Vince help and then they do the big reveal the next night.
Yeah. As long as he still gets to bash him with the chair a bunch, pin him after that. That's my favorite finish.
Because Vince and
I mean,
Shane is fine to me.
yeah.
TLC is fine.
Wasting Guerrero with Test.
I mean, whatever. Nothing else he's
I know.
going to do is going to matter on that show.
No.
Yeah, Angle
China beating
Benoit's
Ivory.
fine. Jericho Regal's fine. Taker Triple H is fine. I mean, that's fine.
Iron Sheik winning the gimmick battle royal.
You had to.
Yeah. He couldn't get thrown out.
I mean, maybe could they have done something with WCW? Like, I don't know, maybe that's an option, but
it's an option, but I think it's Vince.
yeah, to me, it's Austin McMahon coming together.
I wish the opener was better, but again, that's just a match.
I think it's Austin Vince. I think they should have
let
Austin have his moment, let the crowd love him, and then reveal the next night that Vince helped him on purpose or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
All right. WrestleMania 20.
Ending with Chris Benoit winning the title.
How dare they not know?
It's a good WrestleMania 20 is like one of those sneaky good shows that like you don't really remember.
I think here's my choice. Would be too many throwaway matches.
For me, it's the tag match. It's the 2 tag title matches.
Yeah, which kind of goes hand in hand with that. Like,
yeah,
they get these matches that just don't need to be. Like, I know they're trying to get everyone on. It's 20. Like the Cruiserweight Open is a rushed mess.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I mean, this part Goldberg and Brock going on as scheduled, given where they were both headed and word leaking out. So I don't know how you change that, but like,
well, you just have Austin stun them both to start the match, and that's it. Like, and that probably would have been fine.
Or try to prevent the Brock news from leaking. Like, sign Brock, don't let him leave.
But by the same token, that match is so freaking interesting. Like, it's almost not bad. Like, it's weird because like it's right on that edge because it isn't great, but like I think if you remove those 2 tag title matches, I don't think I'd care about the Brock match so much.
I don't know. It's like all time shit show. Because those tag matches combined are only 14 minutes.
Yeah, but that's match time. You get all the intros. Like there's a lot around it, right? It's probably Brock, but
I think if you cut the 2 tags in the Cruiserweight, that's like a half hour ish off that show, which is a long show. But then you got to find space. You got to have RVD and Booker on there. You probably need the Dudleys on there. Like there are guys that deserve to be on the show. So maybe you just do them. You know,
I kind of wish they had just done like an 8-team match for both belts or something like.
Right. Or just do RVD and Booker versus the Dudleys. Like,
yeah,
those are probably the 2 biggest teams of the 8 teams. But
yeah.
I think it's Goldberg Brock, just like
not having Austin just call the audible and beat them up.
Right. Just do something different. That's not that, because as soon as they have the crowd reaction, like it's over.
I mean, how awesome would it have been if right off the bat Austin stuns Brock, and then we get like a tease or a little thing with Austin and Goldberg.
Right. Something
like
anything is better. Or again, try not to let word leak that both guys are fucking leaving like that night. You know, I don't know how you avoid that, but or how about keep Brock Lesnar? Don't let him leave to go play football or whatever.
Give him whatever he wants. He's the best, one of the best you've ever had.
All right, WrestleMania 6.
This one, we might want to think about the card structure.
Mm.
I find there's so many lulls in the show. Like, it's not a bad show, but like the big stuff feels really far apart.
Yeah. It's hampered by the IC title being in the main event. So I think you could argue this. Should they have, I think we've talked about this before. I don't know if it was on this show or maybe it was when I did Chronoso with Bennett. Could you have stripped the IC title before and said, look, whoever wins isn't keeping both fucking belts? So it's like, I know they want the moment of the belts, but you could have said, we're going to do a tournament going into Mania and done perfect for
Crown
Tito.
Mania.
Do perfect Tito, or even have perfect Beefcake be the whatever you want to do.
When you bring up perfect Beefcake, that's another big one. Beating perfect here.
Right.
Piper doing half of blackface.
Yeah, I mean that's a bad decision.
That never goes over well.
The lethargic rocker. Rocker's not doing coke all night before the show. He'd be lethargic.
Yeah, I also, this card structure is rough too.
Right.
Teddy DiBiase shit in the bed again with Jake, because that was a hot feud.
Yeah, but again, that's a match.
That's just them not performing. Yeah.
So I would say my two choices would be either do an IC title tournament, or not have as many. They kind of repeated 5, but with like more junk. So that's the other option, is that you just say slash the random matches and tighten the card up.
Or just move it around. Like opening with Martel and Coco is.
But just think of some of the guys you could take off that show. Like, again, you're not going to get me to say too much bad about it because it's like my favorite show ever. But
Barbarian.
But yeah, if you look at the guys, like you can drop Coco, drop Hercules, drop. You could have Tito. He's Mania, Mr. Mania. You don't really need Bossman Akeem. Like, I know they want to blow off the Twin Towers, but you don't need Snuka. So I mean, if you just like pair some of these guys up a little tighter, maybe you can do something a little bit better. Like maybe, I don't know. I don't have it in me to rebook the whole card, but
let's say card structure.
You think that over? Because I think not having an IC title match hurts the card, because that you don't have that like.
Well, that's what I mean by card structure. Like it's nothing feels.
Yeah, but that could be its own thing where you say like, do the vacant IC title thing here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think even if you add that one match, I think you still have problems with the way they've set this thing out.
So even if you do perfect, like you kind of had to do perfect Beefcake, based on the feud, but you could do perfect Tito, the exact same match they do on TV, which is a great match. Well, actually, the Saturday main event one's the really good one, but the TV one's good too. And just have them
they're good together.
Right. Or have perfect beat Beefcake for the IC belt here. Like Beefcake didn't need to win. I know they had big plans for him.
I think Beefcake beating perfect, it might be the choice, regardless.
Yeah, but if you kind of have to take the jet ski out, because I think their plan was he beats him so he has a claim to fight him at SummerSlam and win the IC belt. Like, I mean, that's their plan, and he's over.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's a fine plan. Like,
but the problem is that perfect is the heel you've been building for like.
Yeah, but he was never going to beat Warrior. Like, that was never going to be the guy.
No, but he was a more credible challenger, I think, than Rude coming back. Not that Rude isn't good.
Earthquake's the real answer. That's what they
Yes, but then they put Earthquake with Hogan, right? So, yeah.
You still could have done both. I talked about this on Chronoso. Like, you could have done Quake Warrior. Well, actually, this is what I said for Chronoso. Do a tag. Every year, SummerSlam was a tag. Like 88, 89. Do Hogan and Warrior versus Quake and Rude or something like that, right? Or Quake and
Dino.
Yeah.
Dino.
Yeah, I mean, like...
There's always a lunk in there.
Right. All right. So we'll do card structure, because I don't hate perfect losing that, because I do think it was setting up Beefcake to be like the next IC title champion.
It just feels like Beefcake's the wrong guy. But then again, I don't know who else is.
Yeah, but I think it's because you look in the lens that he like falls apart. Like if you look in that moment, he's so over when he wins that match. And like going into SummerSlam, that was like a pretty anticipated match. Like I think he would have had a big pop to win the IC belt in SummerSlam.
Maybe. I guess I see it this period as him on the downward, and I don't think it's because of the accident. Like, I think his hottest period was like late 88, 89, but
I think it's here. I don't think he's any bigger than he is at 6. Because he feels like he's his own man. Like 89 is with Hogan, like kind of carrying him. here from like Survivor Series to here, it feels like he's like his guy, his own guy. Like he's dealing with
But he's
perfect.
kind of still with, but he's kind of still with Hogan fighting Perfect.
But not here.
Ingenious,
He
right?
beats Perfect one-on-one on his own. Like, and it felt like
Yeah.
his crowning. And then over the summer, he's chasing Perfect for the IC belt. And like, I think him winning at SummerSlam. Now, I don't know if they would have had him lose it right back like Tornado did, but
Right. You see this? This is from the post.
all right. This one may take a while, so let's get to it. 32. Everything.
It's just it's the length. Like
Yeah.
it's the length. Like it's and
Should
the
we
main
change
event-
35 then? Because now I feel like we shouldn't have two that is length. But
it is actually the problem, right? Like
yeah, it's the problem.
like that's the problem. Is it's way too long. The matches, the bad matches are given way too much time.
Wait, so let me say this. Maybe it's a different take on it. Maybe it's the second half of the show is a big problem. Like, because up until the cell, it's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
And you're only like an hour and a half in, and it's like really good. And then
It's too much time to Hell in the Cell. That's almost an hour, like
Yeah.
from entrance and everything. Then you have The Rock and all that stuff, and then you have Reigns and Triple H doing a 25-minute match when a 5-minute match would have been fine.
Rick Cordman winning the Andres in that little stretch too, which is
But that's to me not as offensive as everything else being so long.
yeah.
Like,
Well, you love Corbin, so it's fine. It drove poor
change my name.
Big Joe nuts afterwards in the chats. Broke him. Yeah, looking real quick too. Yeah, because it goes everything before that's good. You got the IC ladder, which is really good. Jericho Styles is pretty good. League of
Yep.
Nations New Day is like fine, but it has all the cool Austin Shawn.
Yep, that's
Foley.
fine.
Brock Ambrose, I think, is actually fine.
It's very good.
Yeah.
It's just not what you want from them.
Charlotte, Becky, Sasha's good. And then it goes Cell,
Yeah.
Andre, Cena, Rock stuff, and then Reigns, Triple H.
Yeah, it's
And that's 30 minutes for the Cell, and that's not counting all the bullshit.
yeah.
10 on the Andre, then that Rock segment's fucking forever, and then a half hour Reigns Triple H match.
Including a Stephanie promo at 11:47 or whatever
Right.
time it was.
So you could say too, like, I've always thought they could have changed that world title picture and made it a 4-way. So like I'm good with
Yeah.
if you want to do that too, like to say Brock, Ambrose, Reigns, and Triple H in the main event instead, because Ambrose
Yeah.
deserved it. Or are we going to say back end is like a mess of a structure, which is probably
It's
a real
the-
answer. Yeah.
It's the back end. It's the back
Yeah.
end. Everything could look, if Triple H had gotten killed in 2 minutes, we look at the
Right.
show different, right?
Yeah,
if
and if
there's
the cell was in a half hour, right?
Yeah, like we would have been fine.
And the story made no sense in the cell either, which doesn't help.
No.
The way like with Taker's kind of the heel, but Shane's kind of the heel. Like it's just I don't know. It's weird.
No.
All right.
Why does
WrestleMania
Taker even
10.
want to fight him? Like WrestleMania
Right. I mean,
10?
none of it made sense. 10.
Is it I feel like it's all the bullshit around the Luger Yoko match.
I think not doing Luger Brett.
Yeah.
Because I don't think you can argue Luger should have won here. Like I think Brett winning is the choice.
Yeah.
But in Brett Yoko, it's hard because Brett Yoko is like a extremely poor man's mega power. Like it's a year-long story. But
But they're
like-
not involved with each other the whole year. Like
it doesn't make it's like and Yoko's kind of washed by that point.
yeah, and the match ends up not being great.
Yeah, I think Luger losing to Yoko is
Yeah.
the answer.
And how he lost, losing by that lame DQ, and then there's no
Right.
payoff.
Yeah. All right. 19.
Well,
Rock doing a
perfect
shooting
show.
star press.
Well, look, is it Triple H rolling around for 20 seconds before pinning Booker after it's Booker not winning, right?
So, my sneaky hot take is I'm okay with it because I feel like they potato it a lot, and I think Goldberg was the bigger grab to win, and so
Yeah.
I kind of get the theory behind keeping Triple H strong as champion. I think the actual problem is the story of Booker Triple H.
Oh, that's a problem too.
That's the bigger issue to me. Is the
Well, you
whole-
can't do that story and then have Booker lose.
Yes. Yeah. So I don't think it's Triple H winning. I think it's the story of the match. Like Booker bringing the race stuff and you people like that to me is the issue. Like if it was just a normal build, like WCW is inferior. Like whatever you want to say, you could do. Like I think
Yeah,
Triple
you're
H beating
WCW
Booker
guy.
at a hard fought match is fine on that show because it's like the fifth from the top anyway.
Yeah.
The only other thing you could say is like the SmackDown 6 deserves something better. Like that's kind of disappointing coming off like that they carried that back end of 02, but
Yeah. But yeah, kind of waste. You could say you're wasting Taker too with Big Show and
yeah,
Albert.
I think it's the
But
story of Booker Triple H. I
it's
mean, to me,
Triple
that
H. Yeah.
yeah. But again,
I
it's
really
the
do.
story, not the
But
match. to me.
I also think like you make the. I get what you're saying about Goldberg, but you make the show better by having Booker win, and you could undo it the next night, and you still have that moment on that show.
Right.
Like, and then you could still have Goldberg get him, but yeah, I'm fine with it being the build. The build is.
I mean, I guess you
terrible.
could do Dusty finish. Yeah. I mean, just strip like Triple H was known for the bullshit, right? So you could do,
Yeah.
he has Bischoff. He forces Bischoff to overturn it due to some technicality or something.
Yeah.
All right. And then we'll be saying that's the worst decision. Okay. 23.
So like right away, I'm like, well, not putting Batista and Undertaker, but the fact that they went early motivated
makes
them
it
to
great.
have, to have that great match.
Let me throw this one at you.
Yeah.
Kennedy winning Money in the Bank. Now he's over. I think he's a good
Yeah.
choice, but there was definitely a prevailing thought at the time. Like I think Jordan was one of the big ones on this one. Like you knew this guy was kind of made of glass, and like I guess the bigger issue with him is like that they take it from him. Like they could have let him rehab and just kept it. It's a gimmick that lasts a year. You didn't need to take it off of him.
Yeah.
But it's hard to argue because he was so over.
He was the right choice there. Like he's in there with Punk, Orton, Finley, Matt Hardy, King Booker, Jeff Hardy, Edge. So maybe Jeff Hardy would have been a better choice. Like,
yeah, you could argue Hardy not winning. I think that's the bigger. Is it the next year? When does he get busted or whatever? When was he like really
year.
over? And I think it's the next year that he should have won more than this year. But I think then he gets
instead of
busted.
Punk. Oh, Jeff Hardy, you mean? Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, and they give it to Punk.
Yeah, that's the one you could argue like he should have won no matter what.
You could also say not getting Hogan in here.
To do Hogan and Big Show.
Yeah, or Hogan and Khali or whatever because they do Kane and Khali,
That's
right?
what it was Hogan. Well, I think they wanted Hogan Big Show first, and then they went to Hogan Khali or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Not
This is
having
another good
Aretha Franklin to start the show.
She's old. This is a good show too, with not a lot of like
That's a great
bullshit
Mania.
on it. Yeah, like I like that the ECW's guys get a shot. Like it's not that long. It makes sense.
Could they have changed Lashley or Umaga?
Yeah, but it ended up working.
Yeah.
Like I don't think they were the best choices, but it ended up being fine because Vince and Trump were such strong characters.
Yeah, it didn't matter. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean you couldn't have anybody, but I don't know about Kennedy. Like Kennedy was a good choice. It just didn't work out.
Right.
Like that's it's almost
But did they
too much
know
behind-
it was a potential? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it's also putting, you know what? Let's look at Kennedy from this perspective. Putting that briefcase in his hand with him being that hot and knowing that he was not probably going to touch the belt.
Right. Yeah.
For at least a really long time.
Yeah, with Cena.
Cena's
Did
not
you
gonna
argue
give it up.
Batista not ending the streak?
No, I liked it. Like, I think the streak ended up becoming so valuable later. Like the streak wasn't really the streak yet. Like they had mentioned it, but it wasn't crazy the way it became. And I think that's important.
Ashley being the women's title contender.
Maybe that's probably, but then again, she's the contender against Melina, who's like, and it's a lumberjill match.
I know.
These ones are hard.
Yeah, this is a good one. I'd say baby just like going with Kennedy with no real plan.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't have a great feel otherwise.
I wonder if this is where they started thinking like maybe we should take this off WrestleMania. Like,
Right. Well, they do it for a few more years, so
no, I know, but I wonder because like they treat it as such a throwaway.
right. All right, WrestleMania 22.
I think the opener is a poor choice. That's what jumps out right away, considering how stacked that card ends up being. Editing out Mickey James licking her hand.
Yeah, I don't know. That's fine.
Maybe putting the Boogeyman and Booker T on the card.
Nah. You could argue Booker maybe deserved better.
Yeah, or Undertaker deserved better.
Yeah.
Nothing against Mark Henry.
Oh, how about the time for Ray, Kurt, and Orton?
Yeah, I would like that, but it's really good the way
I
it
know.
is.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah, you could have easily cut something to give that more time.
Well, if you cut the Boogeyman and make that a quick segment.
Yeah, backstage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Or just make the show a little bit. It's not that long of a show.
No, I love this. This is one of my favorite WrestleManias, right?
Yeah.
When I look at this card, the only matches I'm really not interested in. I'm not interested in the opener. I'm
mean,
not
that's
really
quick,
interested
though.
in. Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying what I'm not. I'm not really interested in JBL and Chris Benoit, but that's only 10 minutes.
And actually, it's pretty
So, like,
good. I like that match.
It's fine, but like I don't care. Like, so yeah, let's go with giving more time to Mysterio, Orton, and Angle.
Okay. 13. It's a great show.
The Sultan.
Well, I was gonna say
Sultan?
a better contender for Rocky.
Yeah, yeah.
The only other option you could argue is like closing with Brett and Austin.
Yeah, but Undertaker winning the belt is actually meaningful. Like,
Right. So is
the
too
match
much time,
sucks.
maybe too much time for Taker Sid. Like that could maybe be it. Like, because isn't it like
Maybe.
18, 19 minutes or something?
It's too long.
Yeah.
It's way too long. But I actually think the Rocky
Well,
one
it's
is
21 minutes.
Yeah, but I think the Rocky one is the way to go. Like,
Oh, how about not doing the whole tag thing too with Mankind and Vader? Like,
that's a tough one because like ideally you probably do Mankind versus Vader.
that's what I'm saying. So that could be our pick.
Yeah.
Not doing Mankind Vader and like the death
Yeah.
match thing that Foley wanted to do.
But
Because that was on
only
the table.
problem-
That's not like a crazy set.
Yeah.
Like that was, I mean, according to him anyway, they were talking about it.
But the only problem is that you do that on the same card as Bret Austin. And how does that affect
Well, they did
Bret
the
Austin?
Nation street fight right after it.
It's not the same. Like you wouldn't I think Austin Bret is closer in tone to a Foley Vader
Yeah.
bloodbath than a goofy street fight. Like, and I don't mean to
know
call
who
it
else
goofy.
Rocky would fight. Like if you're not so like I don't know who else is even there.
Vader or
Chad and I-
Mankind.
I'm sure Chad and I talked about this.
Or
Yeah, I
Owen
guess
or Bulldog. Like
Yeah.
there's anyone from that match.
you could do Owen win the IC belt there, but they're not ready to do that yet because the hearts aren't
No.
a thing yet.
No.
I think it's Taker Sid. It's too long. I think 20 minutes is way too fucking long for those guys. It's a dead match with no heat. It's
Yeah.
boring and it like kills the vibe. Like give me an 8, like
Yeah.
give me a Hogan Sid 8 minutes and out. Like would have been fine.
3-star match. I'm okay with it. We're going to a lot of this
I
match
know.
was too long.
But that's the
it's
problem.
fine.
That's
Yeah.
a lot of these. That's the fucking problem when you look at it. I mean, we're
But-
saying
but the-
in a vacuum, what are the worst decisions of these manias? Like I think if you cut that
Yeah.
match in half, like that mania tightens up. You know, I think Rocky beating Furnace instead of Sultan. Like I don't think it matters. You know, like I don't.
If you make the other matches more interesting, the longer main event isn't as bad.
I just don't think there's anyone interested to fight Rocky besides Mero when he was hurt. Like
Yeah. Unless
Or-
you break up
right.
unless you break up Mankind and Vader and Brett and
Who does Owen and Bullock
Bulldog.
fight? You can do. I guess you could do Furnace and the Fawn again with them, or LOD. I guess. Well, no, LOD's in the Nation match.
You could do the was the European title tournament finished yet?
Yeah, that finished in February.
I mean, you could have them finish it there, but I guess they wanted to finish it in Europe.
Right. Yeah, I get. Who do you have fight Rocky? Mankind, I guess, is the choice.
Yeah, or Vader. Vader would be interesting too.
Yeah. But you could have those
again,
guys on the card elsewhere. So where else do they go? You know,
yeah, yeah.
you could have done Owen versus Bulldog in a in a rematch.
Yeah.
Like had their issues start a little bit sooner than the Raw.
Yeah, like
Because
if
of
you
Owen Bulldog, Mankind versus one of them versus Rocky.
Yeah.
I still think it's Taker said. I know I don't want to keep getting into that trope too, but I think it really is a
Yeah.
problem.
Yes, it's too long. There's a lot of fun stuff in it, but it is
Right.
too long.
All right, WrestleMania 29. So I think there's a couple that jump out for this. Triple H, Brock, like
Yeah.
you know, for the second time of 3.
I think Triple H beating Brock,
right.
like
Or
especially
Rock Cena 2 years in a row. Not having Punk get his main event. I think that's the answer.
against who in the triple threat.
Or against either of them. Like just do Cena Punk. They have the great match on Raw.
Yeah.
And I know they want to have Rock there, but you could have done Rock and Brock.
Yeah, I feel Brock Triple H is worse. Like it's so long, it breaks Brock,
I know.
right? Like
But the main event is like that. The whole story is Punk chasing the main event, and you don't give it to him. You Rock Cena 2, which is so unnecessary in every way. You could have done that at the Rumble and had Cena fucking beat him and then do Cena Punk.
yeah. But is the story he's actually chasing the main event? Because is that a retrospect thing? Because
No, I feel like in the moment it's like he wants his WrestleMania main event. I don't remember, honestly. I'd be making it up. I just think Rock Cena no one wanted to fucking see, and from the minute, and it was always pegged as a one-time dream match. Now it's a second match. Like the Cena didn't need to beat Rock to be legit.
No,
like,
but also Triple H didn't need to beat Brock, and it really hurt. And it
did it though?
Yeah, because it cost them like that year of Brock where he could have been fighting other guys and more interesting. And
Who's he fight at that SummerSlam?
Oh, he fights Punk. Punk turns him around there.
Yeah, so it's not that long of a stall.
No,
and he beats Triple H like 3 weeks later in the cage.
Yeah, that's also awful.
I think it's Punk not pulling the trigger on Punk in the main event because here we are and he still hasn't been one, and now he's getting shoehorned into this.
Although you lose Punk Taker, which is legitimately great. Like it's the best match on the night, right?
I mean, you could do Punk Rock and do Cena Taker there too. Like that's the other option.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that.
Finally, do Cena Taker.
Yeah,
and do
Punk.
Punk.
You still can
Just do Punk Rock.
Okay,
I think it's Punk in the main event is the kind of thing, and then you swirl everything around it.
All right.
I mean, he deserved that main event. He carried that promotion on his back the whole year before. Like he deserved.
John Cena was having the worst year of his life.
Yeah, he deserved it. Like that was egregious not to be in there. All right, 25.
It's right away. It's probably the treatment of the Divas Battle Royal.
Yeah.
And then but there's also Triple H and Orton fight the wrong match.
I think that's the answer because that feud was hot. It was exciting. They do then you have the title can change on DQ, whatever the fuck it is. And like everything was backwards. Triple H Orton should have been the champion, not Triple H. Like Triple H should have been chasing him. Like none of it made sense. So I think it's the match. Triple H Orton match structure.
Yeah, and the decision to make it no DQ can turn the belt.
Right. Yep. Because I'm not even arguing it should have been last. That's the one I think was okay to be last. Because no one knew Taker and Shawn.
They didn't know.
No way you knew that was going to be a classic. And Orton Triple H was red hot. Like that was a red hot feud. Like, yeah. So I get the Jericho one. I get the Reign. Like there's other ones I get, but like this one to me is a retcon to go back and say this should have not closed because I think if they just have the right match, it's fine.
Yeah. It's not Rock and Hogan where like.
Right. No, definitely not.
Yeah.
All right. WrestleMania 7.
Another solid show.
I mean, you could off the bat say not just doing Hogan Warrior 2 with Hogan beating him for the belt, but I'm not taking away Warrior Savage.
No, that's so. I think maybe not doing Rocker's Hearts. Something in there feels wrong. Like, or maybe like Power and Glory instead of the Nasty. But like, there's something in there that I don't love.
Boss Man not winning the IC belt to pay off the Bobby thing.
I don't. Here's the problem with that is that was never the end game. I don't know if that was ever the end game. Like the end game was Rude,
Then they
right?
should have done Bobby versus Bossman and not Perfect. But I don't know if Bobby could wrestle at that point. I'm guessing he was too fucked up. But like
Yeah,
that would have been the real payoff, is just have Bossman kill Bobby here to end the story.
yeah.
Because he really wanted to hurt the Heenan family, and by doing that, he was going to take the IC belt, and he doesn't do that. And then they
Yeah,
kinda-
I think that's what they changed it to once there was no Rude.
oh yeah, for sure. But Rude's been gone for a while by this point, so like it is what it is. They had plenty of time to friggin' adjust the story. So either if you're not going to have Bossman win the belt, I wouldn't put him in there with Perfect.
Yeah, but I don't think that really hurts the show that much. Like it's still good. Like it's still a good match. It's still fun. You just don't have that extra feel good moment, but you don't really need it. Like,
How about
but I
Slaughter?
can't think of Slaughter being the champion. I mean, doing the whole Iraq thing was pretty stupid in retrospect.
I think it's a world where like Quake beats Warrior at Rumble.
Right.
So my
And then
whole
Hogan gets his revenge.
yeah, like my whole idea that I did on the Chronosa was they do the tag match at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
And I think Rude and Quake is a fun team instead of Bravo. Like if you do Rude and Quake, Bobby and Jimmy come together and they say we're going to take these two guys out, and then we're going to go after the something like that. So you do Hogan and Warrior versus Rude and Quake, and then if you want to spur a Rude face turn, which it seemed like they kind of wanted to do, you can do it off of that. Quake splashes them after the show or something,
Right.
and then you build a Rude and Perfect to Mania if he sticks around with Rude as a face, and then Quake chases Warrior. You know, Quake gets protected. Rude eats the pin at SummerSlam, and Quake beats Warrior at the Rumble, and then you do Quake and Hogan at Mania to blow it off.
You can still do all the Savage stuff.
Exactly the same.
Yeah, maybe Slaughter. It's hard to mess with this card. Like it's good, right? So the Japanese guys, like, why are we bringing them in at all?
Yeah,
but yeah, let's just go with Slaughter.
Slaughter. How about the Iraq angle?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because like Rockers Hearts is cool, but like I don't know, like Hearts Nasty Boys is like a big moment.
Yeah, I just, for me it isn't. Like it's just okay. Yeah. Like they weren't built up enough. It feels for me.
All right, 36. I'm gonna say having the show at all.
Did you want them just to shut down?
I wanted them to breathe and reset. The rumors at the time were they were going to run Mania like in June or whatever when they thought people would be back again. But I think if they would have waited and just saw where things went, they could have ran it a little bit later with like the Thunderdome concept or whatever. And like, or when they knew how to run a show like that, like you think of Money in the Bank with the Titan, like they started doing some cool stuff. Yeah. I think like they could have maybe been better at it if they would. It was just bad timing. The other option is the stupid Big Show bullshit at the. I mean, if you want to pick something from the fucking card, I guess.
I don't like that we didn't get a proper Drew Brock match,
right?
But I don't think it mattered.
But that's like a bigger problem later that they never go back to it. You know, like you couldn't do anything in the moment. It is what it is.
Go with having the show at all. Let's keep it moving.
Yeah, I think that's like they should have paused and thought about it, and just say like, okay, even if we don't have fans back, let's figure out how we're going to do this. You know, it's just such a fart bomb because they were rushed into fixing.
Right.
All right, 31. By the way, this is showing me that Mania is like over. Like, I think some Mania's got a real bad rap, but like outside of a few, we haven't had a ton of
hard decisions.
No, easy decisions. I'm saying
they've been that's hard. What
they've been like I think most Manias. Like, I don't know. Maybe they're not as bad as you think. Some of them.
31. I really don't like Rusev losing to Cena.
Yep. Bray.
I don't. Or Sting losing to Triple H.
Yeah, but what about Bray losing to Taker? I think that's the worst of the three. Like,
but Bray's already been beaten down by Cena at this point. Like the hottest of all of them at this point is probably Rusev.
I know. It just felt like Yeah, I guess. I remember writing an article on PTBN about like how this was a chance to like rehab Bray. Taker didn't
Yeah.
need the one law. Like at that point, it would have meant a lot more to Bray to like get the win on Taker. And how about we just like kind of just not going with the young guard?
Yeah.
So like Rusev and Bray
Yeah.
both should have won.
And Sting.
Yeah, I mean,
The Sting's really bad. That one's really bad. Like
I know, but it doesn't mean anything in the long run. Like it's an old guy who's not sticking around. Like I don't know. Like it never bothered me that much. Like it was kind of a slap, but like I think Bray and Rusev had potential, and like they just
Yes.
lose again here. Like Cena beat Bray the year before. Now he beats Rusev again here. Bray loses to Taker and Cena back-to-back years. 2 chances to get made at Mania.
Yeah.
So I think it's like, yeah, I think it's just Wyatt and Rusev losing
Okay.
to me. Like Sting again, that's bad, but it's more of a fanboy thing than like. I don't think it alters the company in any way. You know.
Well, you never know. Like maybe he sticks around, maybe does more, but yeah, it probably doesn't change.
He comes
Like,
back
it's the
later
one-
and it's fine.
he
He
gets
gets hurt
one-
anyway.
I know, but he has 2 matches and he loses both of them. You know, like
Yeah.
it's. All right, move on.
WrestleMania 4. Savage Steamboat.
Yeah, they missed that. But they weren't going to do that then. Like that
No,
might
yeah.
fall under like maybe doing Warrior Hercules, maybe having too many guys in the tournament, like we've talked about many times.
Right. They could have rebooked that tournament.
Yeah. But all the rebooking we talk about always kind of goes through Savage Steamboat, right? So
Yeah. I mean, this is one you could argue the finishes too. Like, there's a lot of bad finishes on this show.
yeah,
Actually,
almost quaint.
actually, you could argue like, yeah, Savage Steamboat, Rude and Roberts bloated 15 minutes.
Rude and Roberts going to a draw instead of like a definitive finish because they probably would have not gone anywhere near
Right.
15.
Hogan posing in the middle, but I guess that was a decent red herring for
Yeah.
later. You think he's done? How about Demolition winning the belts late in the night? Kind of forgotten,
don't-
overlooked.
I don't think that hurts them that much.
Brutus not beating Honky.
Again, I don't think it hurts them that much because we get the Warrior
Yeah.
moment later, right?
All right, so how about this one? Gang being the only semifinalist is not believable in any way, and then looks dumb as fucking shit with like getting
fucking
getting
stupid.
DQ. So like, I think you could argue a better semifinal with some drama, but I don't know who that is.
It's probably Rude.
Yeah, but you're not going to have Rude DiBiase. I think
No.
this is the
You
choice.
do Rude Savage.
No, I know, but Rude's not believable. He's not going to fight DiBiase in the finals.
Oh, I see.
So here's my choice. Andre actually beats Hogan instead of a double DQ. He beats him by count out. And you do Savage Andre. And everyone thinks Andre's going to win. The options are Savage wins or Andre wins and lays down for DiBiase to close the night.
Yeah.
And they can even play that up. Like, is the Giant going to lay down for DiBiase again? And then Savage beating the Giant and DiBiase is like an awesome like final 2. And you can still give Ted the bye. You just do the draw somewhere else or whatever to give DiBiase the bye to the final.
Yeah, it's not the worst idea. Like I don't find again, like I don't find that's believable that like Andre's going to give the belt away again.
Why
Or
not?
lay down
He's a
again.
character. He just did it.
I know, but
And
he
he
just
had no
did
remorse.
it. Yeah, but are they going to run it back again like right away like as a
It's better than Gang. Like Gang's not going to fight DiBiase in the fucking main event, you know?
Oh, maybe the problem is giving DiBiase that bye. Like
This is no drama. Like there's no one else that you could put in there that's going to add drama, unless it's maybe Steamboat. If you do that in the semis and say like Steamboat DiBiase, I guess, but
or Hogan.
you can't do Hogan Savage.
No, you can do Hogan DiBiase.
No, but I'm talking Savage. Like on the Savage side, who's going to fight DiBiase in the final? Unless you do Savage Gang and then Hogan DiBiase, I guess.
Yeah, something like that.
I mean, Savage Andre Hogan DiBiase would have been a way better Final 4. You could have done that
Agreed.
because
But then you would have never had. Yeah, you would have never had Hogan Andre, which wouldn't have been a bad thing. Well, look, why don't we just go with having a weak semifinal?
Yeah, week semifinals. I think that's
Yeah.
a good one. Because I think there's a lot you can do there. And in that
Yeah.
world, you can cut the tournament down to eight or 10 or whatever you want to do, and then just have those be your final four. I mean, Hogan versus DiBiase and Savage versus Andre in your final four.
Yeah.
Because all those combos are believable. It's like you could do Hogan Savage,
Yep.
DiBiase Andre again, like I talked about, or Hogan
And Andre
Andre.
lays down. Yeah.
Yep. Or Hogan Andre. In a rematch.
You're
All right.
probably thinking it's going to be Hogan Andre watching it. Like,
Yeah, exactly. So like that's actually I don't think I've ever really thought of it that way.
Yeah.
All right, 15.
letting Bart Gunn die. Probably the hanging, Big Boss Man,
Yeah, I mean,
or
the
the
other thing-
IC hardcore.
yeah, I was gonna say
bullshit.
those switches that they did with the mid card belts.
It's
I'm
Tori
okay with the
getting
Triple
her.
H thing.
Yeah, me too. That's fine. And the Kane stuff. I think too the mid card stuff, as stupid as it is, the mid card was a mess anyway. Like the belts were bouncing around.
Yeah.
So I think maybe choosing Tori as a opponent for Sable
I don't think that
or
matters.
the
There's no
hanging.
one else.
I think it's the hanging.
I just think the cell. I think Boss Man.
Oh, there's no point
Undertaker.
having him in the cell at all. Yeah.
Yeah, Undertaker Boss Man in a cell with the hanging.
Yeah.
I think that's the worst thing on that show by far.
Cut.
All right, WrestleMania 3.
Nothing bad. No.
Not doing Savage Steamboat now. How about not having Orndorff on the card?
Yep. No reason not to have him.
I don't think there's anything else really because like Piper, that's well done.
Yeah. The six man's well done. The opener's okay.
Maybe not doing. I guess I mean Davis is so hot, so you kind of had to do it. You could argue not doing having the tag belts on the line for Bulldog Hearts.
Yeah. But it's okay. We got something good with it, so I'm okay with it. I think not putting Orndorff on the card is
He
probably the
deserved
way
to be on. Like I know, even if they were saving him by the last minute, they could have added him on. And even if they had to pull the match, if they had to change it for some reason, they could have. Who cared?
Yeah, you have him out there with someone who he can beat. He deserves to beat someone at WrestleMania, I think.
Yeah, he should have been on that show. You don't need Butch Reed on there. Like you can do Orndorff versus someone. You could have saved Reed for TV or whatever. How about Blackjack Mulligan? He'll just come back.
Let him fight.
WrestleMania 12.
Making it an Iron Man match.
Yeah, because Warrior's fine. Backlot's fine. Austin Vega, I think, is fine.
It's fine.
Opener's fine.
And
maybe not doing Yoko Vader one-on-one, but Vader was hurt.
Well, that and you can't really do too much when one match is an hour, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you can still give it a ton of time, but I think 40 minutes would have been fine.
Well, and we've talked about it. The Iron Man stuff hurts the drama of it.
Yeah.
They should have had a long match.
Yep.
Okay. All right, WrestleMania 2. What the world is watching it.
I like the choice, but the 3 locations.
Yeah, I think it waters down the shows. They rush the matches.
Yeah.
Susan St. James.
Well, you wouldn't have her if you didn't have the 3 locations, right?
I mean, Hogan Bundy's fine.
That's fine. I actually don't think it's a bad show. It's an easy watch. I find that show to be a really easy watch because I like the Funks against Tito and JYD a lot. I like the tag match a lot.
I think it's a show that's helped when you watch the real version that's like on the cock and everything. That like the full pay. Like for years, I only had like the Coliseum version that has a lot of stuff cut out and makes it seem a lot more hectic and less built.
Yeah.
But if you combine it to one show, you don't need 12 matches probably either. So you can you could dump some of this junk that's in there.
You're dumping Morocco and Orndorff. You're dumping Moolah. God, you're dumping that. You're dumping Kirshner and Volkov.
Well, that's even okay though. I mean, I don't know if you want to go down to 11. I guess you can go down to 11 matches, but like if you wanted to keep even 12, like I think Kirchner's the one. Like you could put Orndorff and Morocco in the Battle Royal.
Yeah. Yeah, and the battle would be made better for them being in it.
How about I'll throw this one out there too, though. Similar to WrestleMania 1, should they have done Savage winning the belt from Tito here?
It's definitely an option. But as much as I don't like that match, that storyline's mega over.
I know.
So I get why they did it. It's not like it won where it's kind of heatless, like Jay Whitey and Valentine was kind of
Yeah.
heatless.
Yeah. All right, let's just do 3 locations. I think that makes
Yeah.
sense.
I know it's obvious, but
Right.
that is the problem with the show.
Yeah. All right, 21. I would say I hate to keep going to it because like I don't think it's fair to Triple H to say every time he should have just been squashed. But this is one I believe he should have been squashed. But I don't think that's even my most egregious one. I think it's not having JBL empty the kitchen sink in that match with Cena. His whole title reign was bells and whistles and bullshit. And then in the
they do a
biggest
straight
match, he wrestles like a 9-minute match. Like honestly, I would have had we've talked about this before. I would have had JBL retain and had Cena beat him at Judgment Day. Like I just would have had him win, have Cena win by DQ, some shit show with the cabinet. Batista gets the big moment of the night, and then Cena kills him at Judgment Day and wins the belt. But I won't put that here. I'll just put like Cena
Main event
JBL
management
not being a crazy match. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, they should have just done their Judgment Day match there.
I get why they didn't do like a
I get it
crazy
too,
bloodbath, but they could have found a middle ground and just for the cabinet not to come out and like go crazy, like makes no sense. That was his entire reign. Was like he kept getting out and stealing these wins, you know, or put it in a cage or in a lumberjack. You got to do something to explain why suddenly none of these people are coming to help.
A couple more honorable mentions though. The Piper's Pit is terrible and slows the show down to a crawl, and the Big Show Akebono.
Yeah, and Ray's mask.
Yeah, but that's an accident. Yeah, but the fact that you're crowning two guys and neither one of them feels like that big a deal in the moment, it's hard.
Right. All right, WrestleMania 8.
Perfect show. I know we kind of talked about it. I would not change what we got for Hogan Flair. Like, I just think what we got was so good that it didn't like.
I know.
Like, I love that Savage Flair match so much. And it made sense storyline wise and everything was good. But I don't know what else I would change on the show. Like, maybe I'd move one of the matches from the first half to the second half. Because once you get past Savage and Flair, you get Tatanka Martel, which is a bit of a sludge. Maybe I'd have LOD in the tag title match instead of...
I think it's as easy as saying Hogan should have just beaten Sid. Like, having a DQ in the main event with Papa Shango, like, he's such a milquetoast heel. Like, it makes no sense. Like, just have Sid lose, kick out right after. Who cares? Or Sid win. And then have Shango come out, they double team Hogan and Warrior comes back. But like, I think Hogan not winning his retirement match clean after being dominant for years, I think is the one for me. If you're not going to say Hogan Flair, which I love Savage Flair, it's one of my favorite of all time. I do think them not doing a Hogan Flair Mania match is a miss. So I think if we stay agnostic in this, I really think that's what it should be, that they didn't do Hogan Flair.
Or that they don't blow off. Because if you do Hogan Flair, you blow off Jake Savage too, right?
Right. And I think that works, you know. And then you could have done Savage Flair at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
I think it's Hogan Flair. I think it's Hogan Flair.
I don't like it.
Yeah, I'm not saying it would have been better, but like to have them both there, still kind of in their peak, like
you
have to.
I don't like it.
I know. All right, 24.
Well, the first thing that jumps out is having Edge and Undertaker main event. But
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with it, but it's so anticlimactic compared to like everything else that's kind of going on the show.
For me, I think it's a waste of Batista.
Oh, he fights Umaga in that.
And it means nothing. Like,
it's a waste of Umaga too, actually.
Yeah, I think like to me that's the one. Honestly, like I always thought that was like a real make it or break it match on that. Like, if you give them something better, like it's a great show anyway. You could say the Hardy thing, but again, I think they were hamstrung by the new wellness policy. I think this is where he was supposed to win.
Oh yeah,
because they booked him strong at the end of 07, and he was going to win, but I think he got popped. So it's like. It's hard to blame them for it because right after Benoit, they kind of had to play ball for a bit. Cena not winning?
No, I thought that was really interesting that Cena didn't win.
Making that a triple threat?
Well, Orton escaping with the belt was interesting. Like, I like that.
But what do you think about putting Triple H in the match? It should have been Cena Orton.
it's hard. Like I'm trying to put myself back at that point. How many times have we seen Cena Orton at that point?
Right.
Not that many. I don't know. I don't mind that. I don't mind that. I'm good with the Hardy. I'm good with Undertaker and Edge. What was the other thing you brought
Batista.
up? Batista. Let's go with that one.
Yeah, I think so. I think he was so good in 07. It feels like it's one of those classic ones like Marcus I always cover on War. Like they have such a great season, and then like there's one every year where a guy has an amazing season, and then by the time Mania comes, it's like
he's just out of the shuffle, right?
Yeah, like Angle at 18. Like there's one every year where there's like, oh, this guy was awesome all year, and then by the Rumble they're just like falling off.
What do we do with this guy?
Nothing to do with him. That's a fun concept too. We could do someday. Like who got screwed the most every Mania? Like
Bret Hart.
Yeah, always. All right, we got 3 more to go. Let's finish strong here. WrestleMania 9.
So this is the one where I think we have to consider the fuck finishes.
Right.
Because this is like every match is a fuck finish. With the exception, I think, the Steiners.
Yeah.
Like every single match. And like there's a lot that goes on. There's too much time for Hogan and Beefcake and Money Inc. and IRS. I don't think we should ding the Hogan at the end because it did work in the moment. I don't even know if retrospective was that bad. Like it just worked in the moment. But I really think this show, the big problem I have with it is every match is a fuck finish.
Yeah, because even Tatanka, they screw that around. Like, and that should have been Jannetty, but I get he got fired. Fired.
Yeah.
But yeah, Perfect Luger like sucks, and that should have been
Crush.
good.
Yeah, Joint Crush is a fuck finish. Undertaker Gonzalez is a fuck finish. The tag title match is a fuck finish.
Yeah, all right. Too many screwy finishes.
Everything, like everything has something wrong with it.
Right. All right. I'm going to switch around our randomizer just a touch because I want to have some synergy from our last one. So we're going to go WrestleMania 39 next.
Okay.
Should they have? We know that there's an elephant in the room.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the time, I would have told you it was ridiculous that Cody lost.
There was some standing on the mountaintop saying it was the right decision, and I think they look right in the end. But it's only because WWE nailed the story. Like it was a high risk, like that they could fuck that up, but they didn't. So kudos.
Well, and also, like, look, would we be looking at this anywhere near as like when they made that decision? Did they have Rock coming in for the next year?
Right.
Because if they didn't, like if that was the plan all along with Rock, okay. But if they didn't, I don't know if that's. I don't know if that's.
They didn't know Vince would be gone. Like there's a lot of stuff. Like Vince was back at that point.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
They got skewered at the time.
Yeah. You could also consider Austin Theory and Cena, like
right.
Having the match, having Austin Theory go over.
Having Shane try and wrestle.
Yes.
Oh, that's one of the best moments of all time.
Yeah. Kind of wasting Brock.
Yeah.
Almost. Hell in the Cell with Edge and Finn.
That's fine. It's the blood that screwed that up.
Yeah, it's
only 18 minutes.
Yeah.
The blood fucks that up. I think it's either Cody not winning, Theory, and Brock. I'm leaning toward Brock because it's kind of one of his. It might be his last Mania match ever now, and it's like, he's wasted so many times over the years. It's crazy.
Yeah, let's go with Brock because in the end, hindsight has made the Cody not winning work.
Yeah. If we would have done this a year ago, we would have had that in there.
Yeah,
probably. I still think you could argue it should be the choice because if we're looking at this in the moment, the worst decision of that night, you could argue it was that because the variables in place for them to make it to 40 and not fuck it up. It was a high wire act. Like,
well, and especially like when that wasn't their plan for 40, apparently.
Right. Yeah.
Like when you factor that in, like they weren't even planning for him to come back and do it.
Yeah. All right, we'll go Brock, but I think Cody's in there.
Yeah.
All right, last one, WrestleMania 30. Just like last time. Is it ending the streak? We had that as our best moment of the show.
I don't think so because I don't think so, because that moment is worth it. Like for me, that moments are why I watch wrestling, and that
Yeah.
moment is so good that it, like, is it the best business move? You could argue it was a bad business, maybe the worst business move they did that night.
Right. You got to be like sure, like you're willing to be done with all the stuff that comes with the streak.
Yeah. I mean, what you lose is you lose potentially Wyatt beating him the next year, or Reigns beating him, right? Those are the two that you would have kind of gone with. But again, that moment is so good that, like,
And Brock becomes a mega star. You could argue nobody who beats him is going to be as big as Brock was for the next 5 years.
no, I would agree with that. So
All right,
then
it's Cena beating Bray.
it's Cena beating Bray. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the rest of that show, unless you want to talk about Hogan with the Superdome,
Yeah, I mean,
but it's Cena beating Bray.
yeah, because the Shield destroying Kane and the Outlaws is good.
It's fine. Everything else is good. The Battle Royal is amazing for a Battle Royal.
Mm-hmm. All right. That's it. Let's quickly bring up our sheet here, and we can read over our
Break it down.
choices. All right. So WrestleMania 30, we have John Cena defeating Bray Wyatt.
39, Brock Lesnar wasted.
WrestleMania 9, too many fuck finishes.
WrestleMania 24, wasted Batista.
WrestleMania 8, Hogan versus Flair, not happening.
WrestleMania 21, Cena JBL not being a wild match.
WrestleMania 2, trying to do the 3-location gimmick when it was just not ready for that yet.
WrestleMania 12, Iron Man stipulation.
WrestleMania 3, leaving poor red hot Paul Orndorff off the card.
WrestleMania 15, Undertaker Boss Man hanging.
WrestleMania 4, having a very weak tournament semifinals that doesn't add drama to who's going to make the championship.
31, Wyatt and Rusev losing. So Wyatt losing is a theme.
Yeah, I mean, he was primed to be a massive star. They jobbed him 2 straight Manias for no reason. 36, not canceling the show and regrouping.
Yeah. 7, the Iraq War angle.
25, Triple H and Orton's match structure, not having that DQ rule and not having it be a crazy brawl.
WrestleMania 29, Punk not being in the main event.
13, Taker and Sid just too long for their match.
22, Mysterio, Angle, and Orton not getting enough time.
23, Mr. Kennedy winning Money in the Bank with no real world title plan in place.
19,
We assume anyway. I mean, we could be off on that one, but
maybe. 19, Booker Triple H storyline.
yes. 10, Luger losing to Yokozuna the way he does.
And Mr. Perfect in his striped pants and shirt. WrestleMania 32, back end of the show being a disaster.
It was fitting outfit for 1994. WrestleMania 6, the overall this card structure, not having an IC title match, so many kind of job, not job matches, but random pairings. Just a bloated version of the year before.
Yeah. WrestleMania 20, Goldberg and Lesnar not cleaning that up.
WrestleMania 17, having Austin McMahon unite at the end of the night.
WrestleMania 40, Rock and Reigns versus Raw Rhodes and Rollins, the structure and the length.
18, having Triple H and Jericho close the show.
Yeah. 28, Sheamus destroying Daniel Bryan.
By the way, we did a good job with the Triple H ones. We only once did we say shouldn't have main evented out of all the options.
It's in our heart though that we.
34, Nicholas and Braun Strowman beating the Bar for the tag titles.
27, Cole beats Lawler.
They even did the cool entrance for the Bar too with the parade.
Yep.
WrestleMania 14, DX singing the national anthem. I think if you were to stack rank, this is like the weakest, which may make 14 the best Mania ever.
Yep, that's the decider. 26, Bret Hart and Vince McMahon booking.
35, just way too super long WrestleMania.
Yeah. 11, not doing Bret Hart and Owen Hart, instead doing Hart Backlund. 37,
the box-like objects of Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton.
5, running Trump Plaza for the second time.
2000, having Triple H win in a 4-way. Should have just done Rock Triple H solo match to end the night.
Yep. 38, Vince McMahon fighting Pat McAfee.
WrestleMania 1, not doing Santana Valentine for the IC title.
33, Bug-a-Mania.
All right, and that is it. So there's the worst decision from Mania. Leave your thoughts in the comments on YouTube, or if you're listening to this, send them over on social media. Let us know what we missed, what we did wrong. If you want to rank them, go for it. What do you think is the most egregious one of them all? I think there's a couple real strong contenders in there. It was a lot of fun doing this, a lot of fun ramping up toward Mania. Again, I'm not sure if we'll be back pre-Mania. We're definitely going to do I think, a revisit of our Mania rankings after
Yep.
this year's show, kind of see where 41 and 40 slot in on our all-time list, and we'll see if anything else changes too throughout that. So be sure to check out everything Northtown Connection. The Dookie's been dropped. The Bards have been no holds, and we'll talk to you soon. Goodbye.
See you, jockass.